Hey business owners, so you want to know how to increase your win rate. I am so excited that you're here today because that is exactly what we're covering. I'm Amy Walker, Client Acquisition Specialist and your sales doc, diagnosing your sales woes so that your sales can be sick in a very good way. Today we're going to be deep diving into the win rate and how do we get that up. Some of you might be like, do I even know what a win rate is? Don't worry, we're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to give you several different strategies that you can use today. You can take these one at a time, you can implement them into your sales strategy, and you're going to watch those number of deals go up, that sales volume go up, the commissions, the bonuses, the profits, everything goes up from here when the win rate goes up. So I can't wait to dig in and share all of these juicy secrets. Now you're going to want to stick with me for this entire video because at the end I am covering the number one place where people lose deals because they just don't simply know what to do. And that is overcoming objections. You definitely want to be here for that part of the conversation. So what is that win rate and how do you calculate it? It's actually really easy. You just take the number of deals that you closed and you divide it by the number of sales opportunities that you've been working with, and that's going to tell you your percentage. Now, is this different than a closing ratio? Yes, because the win rate is the total number of deals that you've been working with, and the conversion rate or your closing ratio is the number that you actually got to sales calls with. So your closing ratio is like almost always going to be higher than your win rate because win rate is all the deals, but not everybody even gets to that point of having a sales conversation. They're both really critical skills to know. So let's talk specifically about the win rate because this number does start out farther in advance. We also have to start looking at that customer journey farther in the beginning because if you can't get them onto a sales call, then they're still counting against your win rate. So let's start right there. Are you being really intentional with your customer journey, or are you just getting a lead, trying to get them on the phone, and then trying to get them to say yes? It's great, like that's a great starting point, but you're missing out on so many different possibilities. So when I'm working with clients, we map out the customer journey, which is from the very first time somebody comes into your sphere, the very first time they're hearing about you, each lead stage that they go through, from like a brand new lead to a contacting lead to a set lead to a held a sales appointment lead to a pending close and on hold, all of those different phases, we map it out and we ask ourselves the question, if we were the client, what would we want to experience at that point in time that would make us want to move closer to the next phase? And so this customer journey is very driven, it's very specific. You're not having the same conversation with everyone. You're having a conversation that is specific for where they are at that different stage of the pipeline. This also allows us to have a really strong nurture program for the people who are maybe inactive in our pipeline, that they're not a no forever, but they're not ready to progress right now. We can keep them in the nurture sequence and then they can stay in instead of getting kicked out because they weren't ready for a quick one-off purchase. If your system is not able to take people from a brand new, lukewarm baby lead who was interested enough to give you like a name, an email, or a phone number, but not interested enough to schedule a call, if it can't help nurture them all the way through, then that's the first place that I would start, is looking at your customer journey. The next thing you can do to increase your win rate is to actually qualify your leads. This is specifically going to help with your close ratio. If you've got a bunch of unqualified people that are in your pipeline and then you're spending 30 minutes with them having a sales conversation, or an hour, or even just 15 minutes having a sales conversation with somebody who is not your ideal client, they are not financially qualified, they are not motivated, like they're just simply not interested, that is going to waste a lot of time. And it's going to make it so that you can't get to the ones who are actually qualified and are actually interested. So here's how we handle this inside of my team. We have appointment setters. The appointment setters call the leads, and their job is to be that first point of contact where they're letting people know that we're here, that we're excited to serve them, and that we want to know what they're needing help and support with. And then we're looking for, are they the right type of client? Are they at the right phase of business? Are they ready for us? Are they committed to working hard and making changes with their sales and their marketing? Are they financially qualified? If they are, they will set them up on an appointment with a closer. When a closer gets on that call, if they can tell really quickly that that person is not qualified, we will redirect them really quickly and say, you know what? Based on what I'm hearing, it sounds like we're probably not a fit for you to work with us as one of our coaching students right now, or maybe we're not a good consultant for you right now, but let me redirect you to our free resources that I think will give you what you're looking for. And then we'll redirect them back to our Facebook group, all the places where we create content, produce a lot of content. So there's not a lack of things that they can learn, but if they're not ready to work with us yet, we're not going to go through that entire sales call. And then when that person jumps off the sales call, guess what they can do? Follow-up calls, right? They can go back to their on-hold prospects who were qualified but weren't quite ready and reach out to them. There are much better uses of that time than trying to make an unqualified lead purchase from you. They're not going to make that transition easily, and oftentimes they become your problem clients later who are really hard to work with. They default on their payments. You feel like you're constantly chasing them down, trying to get them to show up because they just weren't ready to actually work with you. If these tips are helpful, go ahead and like this video and make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you can get notified every time we release new content. The third way that you can increase your win rate is to treat people like people and not like a commodity. I want you to be less transactional with the people, and I really want you to build relationships. Whenever I start having this conversation with people, they're like, but how is that scalable? Or how is it not scalable? And the reality is you're gonna do some of both. You're gonna do things that are not scalable. And those are the things like you go to have a sales conversation with somebody and they're not there and they text you, they're like, I'm so sorry, I'm in the hospital with my wife. Send flowers, right? Or check in the next day and say, hey, I was just thinking about your wife. Is everything okay? Is there anything I can do for you guys? Those are the types of things that are not scalable at all, but you really, really want to do those things anyway. Be a caring person. Be invested in the people behind the purchase. Behind every purchase is a person making that purchase. So let's get to know them. Let's build that relationship. Let's show them that we genuinely care about them as a person, not just a dollar. Then you have the things that are actually scalable, and we're getting really good at these, you guys. I can create a voice memo and I can blast it out to a bunch of people and they get it and it goes straight to their voice message so that they are getting to hear my voice. And yes, I don't have time to voice blast every single person, but I can create the voice message that I would want to leave for every single person if I had the time. When I look at my calendar on Monday and I see all the people that are scheduled to have consultations with us that week, I make a video for the week. It's not a video for every single person, but I'll make a video for everyone that is scheduled that week. And I'll just tell them like, hey, it's Amy. I'm so excited that you're meeting with my team this week. I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts with you so that you're really ready for that call. And those are things that are scalable because it's one video that's going out to everybody that week. This is where your systems will really help you to be able to increase the touch points. Whenever I'm talking with people about processes and they're like, but I hate that. I hate that systemization because it takes out the closeness. I'm like, no. What it actually does is it allows you to be close with more people. So if you're trying to have volume of people in your space and you're still trying to keep it high touch, you're gonna have to use some of these automation tools. Now, in the not too distant future, in fact, it already kind of exists, I just don't think it's quite good enough yet. I could actually make a recording of my voice and I could type in the voice memo for each that I want to say to each person and change the name, and I could create a voice memo for each person in like mass quantity, short period of time. The same thing is coming with video and AI, that you'll be able to create videos directly for a person and just change out the name for each one. So there is some cool stuff in the pipeline. I'm not personally using that yet. I don't know if I will use it in the future. It just depends on how good it is. But I will tell you this, I am on board with putting my heart and my intention in a way, like putting it out there in a way that I can reach more people with it. So I'm on board with using AI tools for things like this because it's the intention that I'm trying to really adhere to. And if your intention is good and you want to share love and genuine concern about other humans, then I'm good with using AI in order to get that accomplished. The next thing that I want you to get really good at is your value propositioning. Here's how most people look at things. They look at it and they say, I have this problem. How much does the solution cost? And then based on the cost of the solution, they say yes or they say no. This is not the way that we want clients looking at what we have to offer, because it's actually not a good way to make decisions. We want to make decisions in the way that is going to set us up for the best long-term success, the best long-term win. And what we need to do differently here is we need to identify the cost of the problem. Nobody ever does that. They just look at, well, how much does it cost to work with you, Amy? How much does it cost to have someone stain my back deck? How much does it cost to buy this car, right? But here's the real question. What is the cost of you continuing to have not enough leads and not enough sales in your business? What is that costing you? What does it cost me if I have to replace my entire back deck because we didn't get it stained on time and the wood rots? What does it cost me if I can't get around and I have no transportation? What does that cost? We want to assess the value that they place upon the cost of the problem. Then we want to assess a value upon the solution. So if we could fix that for you, what would it be worth to you? So if we could help you get plenty of leads flowing through and get your consistency among those conversions, what would that be worth it to you? If we could get this deck looking beautiful and create this outdoor space that you and your family are going to really enjoy and would use, what would that be worth to you? So if we could get you an automobile that helps you get around and fits all of your kids and allows for all their stuff. You know, I have a tuba player in my family, so like if we could get you seats that fold down so you can fit the tuba in the back seat, what would that be worth to you? So we want to know the cost of the problem. We want to know the value of the solution. Let me tell you when it's going to be really easy to close. When their cost of their problem is here, the value of their solution is here, and the cost of your solution is below that. All of a sudden, you feel like a great deal. And they're like, wow, this is a bargain. This is a bargain. My first coach that I paid $25,000 to work with this coach for 1 year. That coach helped me build a 6-figure business that year. The next year, I quadrupled sales and was at $440,000 in sales. So $500,000 is what I produced working with that coach for $25,000. That felt like the best. It's to this day, it feels like one of the best investments that I ever made, because my problem was an expensive problem. Their solution that they provided was really valuable to me, and it cost way less than what I was going to pay if I didn't do it, because there is an opportunity cost. Every time you don't do something, it's costing you something. So help your clients figure out what that stream looks like. And it's gonna be a lot easier to get them to say yes. All right, here's the last thing. You gotta learn how to overcome sales objections. This one is critical. And I'm gonna be honest with you, sales objections are the stopping point for a lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners, and salespeople. They're doing really good when they're sharing, presenting, informing, and they get to that point at the end where someone says, I just can't afford working with you. And it's like, okay, well, thank you so much for your time. You know, if something changes, will you reach back out? We'd love to work with you again in the future. And it's just like the deal just crashes. So I have actually an entire playlist where I go through how to overcome sales objections and talk you through the most common ones, what to say when they can't afford it, what to say when you are more expensive than your competition, what to say when they're too busy, what to say when it's not the right time. So I'm going to encourage you to go check those out and really dig into knowing how to overcome those objections, because it's not that hard. It will change dramatically your closing rate and ultimately elevate the win rate as well. Now I'm going to give you one more resource, because if you're anything like me, I love templates and I love scripts. And so I would love for you to go and get a free copy of the I'm Not a Salesperson sales book, Sell Like a Natural Even If You're Not. This book actually has my high converting scripts in the back, and it also has templates and written out explanations for how to overcome the most common sales objections. So if you go to salesaremything.com, and we'll drop a link below, you can go grab that book for free. I can't wait to see you there. All right, so the next video that you're gonna go watch is how to overcome sales objections. I can't wait to see you there.